Hello there. Thank you once again for watching. My name is Veronica Rose. You are most welcome to the Viral Knowledge channel. The purpose of this channel is to ensure that knowledge goes viral. Have you subscribed yet? If you haven't, I think this is the best time to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss out on more of the upcoming videos that are very insightful. So today I would like to talk about the approach for auditing a core banking system. I think this is tailored for auditors and IT auditors that are watching this video. So most of the time, especially during my mentorship sessions with my mentees, they usually ask me questions on how do you go about auditing certain systems. And then this question came in a while ago, and I even published a book relating to the same on how to audit a system that maybe you've never audited before, or how do you audit a core banking system in particular. This may apply to people who are working in the banking industry or financial services industries. Like I always say, everybody I think sucks when they're doing something new, okay? And everyone starts from somewhere. So maybe this is your first time to audit the core banking system, or it's your second time, or but you need more knowledge on how to audit a core banking system. So let's get started. So number one is there are various types of core banking systems in the market. Different service providers, different tools out there, but the approach can be customized to any core banking system that you've ever interacted with. So the control test may still apply to whichever core banking system you have. I'll not mention the names of core banking systems because they haven't yet paid me for the ad. But there are quite a number of core banking systems out there, and whichever that your organization is using, the control test may still apply. So we are still together. All right. So another thing is financial service industries, especially banks, are highly regulated. So prior for you starting the IT audit that you're going to conduct, I think it's very good you dedicate some time to understand the various regulations of that organization, the regulatory requirements, other laws that this institution comply with. For example, I'll say actually organizations that usually use the core banking systems are usually banks, fintechs, telecommunication companies that deal with mobile money transactions, credit reference bureaus, mobile money service companies, microfinance, non-bank financial organizations, investment groups, all those, majority of them use core banking systems. So you need to first of all understand what are the regulatory requirements for this kind of organizations. Yeah, we have the Securities and Exchange Commission regulations, we have the Financial Institutions Act. Such organizations, dependent on the country where you are, they have central banks. So what are the central bank regulations towards that institution? It is very good to understand that first before you even engage on your audit. So depending on the scope, of course, every audit, you must have a scope and objectives of this audit. Otherwise, you'll just be doing an audit. But first of all, determine the objectives of the audit, define the scope of the audit, and then that will help you when you're developing your audit program. So some of the areas that you can look at when you're auditing a core banking system will be you review the organization policies and standards regarding the operations of especially the back-end administration of the core banking system of that institution. So most system projects fail or become problematic dependent on how they started. So please pay much attention on everything, how everything starts at the beginning. If this core banking system is outsourced, review the service level agreements, review the contracts of the vendor, review the support service determined in the SLA. There are some clauses when you're reviewing service level agreements. Of course, that's a special audit on its own, but just a high level overview of just to understand this whole thing is that when you're reviewing the service level agreements, look at some clauses like the right to audit clauses if they exist, right to inspect without prior notice, the nature of subscription for this service, how often or how frequent are the licenses renewed. Ensure there is a non-disclosure agreement, because with the data privacy requirements, ensure that the data that is being, remember, financial data is confidential. So ensure that there is a clause where it's defining non-disclosure agreement of the data that is being processed in the core banking system. Look at confidentiality agreements. Are they there in the SLA? Then, of course, an SLA is a full audit on its own, but as you're reviewing as you're carrying out an audit of the core banking system, you would wish to understand how was this system, first of all, onboarded, and then review the application support, the scripting, the development, the timelines for the core banking system versioning, how the maintenance communication is done. I'm sure if you have an account with any bank, you usually get, especially on Fridays, a notification on how maintenance is going to be done, maybe over the weekend or if such and such number of hours. Usually, how is that communication done to the client? Because at the end of the day, we have to ensure confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Is this service available in case the client wanted to make a transaction? Is it available? Or if it's not available, was it communicated earlier so that the client doesn't have to again call the customer support and everything like that? So also look at areas where prior to the purchase of the core banking system, confirm whether a business case had been developed. Was it reviewed? Was it approved? Confirm whether the core banking system, the implementation passed the user acceptance tests from beginning to end. Review whether a post-implementation review was done 6 months after its implementation. Ensure users were trained. Was there a manual that was shared so that users are able to refer to, just in case they wanted to check other functionalities, or technical, of course, the technical manual and then the end user manual, was it shared? Things like that. Is even the service provider certified to sell that product? So you may want to look at all those areas. Then review the settings that are on the application itself, the core banking system. Are they approved? When changes are being made on the corporate settings, is there a change management process? Is it being followed? Are the parameter configurations of the core banking system well configured? Are they reviewed? Is there a process of doing access reviews? Of course, we'll talk about access reviews later, but you have to look at all those to understand the control surrounding the core banking system. And then understand the institution's products requirements. For example, there are institutions that are non-bank financial institutions. So such institutions, you'll find that probably they don't take savings. They only do loans. So understand the institution's products requirements. If it's a bank, you'll find that the bank takes loans, investments, overdraft, deposits, savings. A non-bank may not be taking savings or deposits. They just do loans. So understand their product line before even trying to find out whether the controls are effective or not. So inspect the core banking system to verify whether each product requirement is configured as is. Usually, if you have a data analytics tool, you can use that to recompute the rates charged on each product. For example, you look at the tariff plan, tariff charges of a particular bank on a certain product. Is it the way it is set on the tariff on the tariff charges, is it the same fee that is charged in the system? You would want to recompute all that to ensure that this control is effective. It is also important to review where the core banking system is hosted. Is it hosted on the cloud? Is it hosted on-prem? Is it hybrid cloud? What are the controls surrounding that? Find out the data privacy requirements in that country, let's say jurisdiction, dependent on where you are. Because at the end of the day, hosting customers' personally identifiable information, there are guidelines surrounding that. So you will need to confirm the security and the privacy requirements surrounding that. And then if the data is hosted in the cloud, are the encryption keys there? Are they accessible? How do you deal with data that is no longer needed but maybe stored in the cloud? Have you done crypto shredding? Have you done, do you have business continuity plans? Have you defined return of data at the end of the day when you no longer need that data? So all that, look into it as you're doing your review. Then the other thing is to test the logical access controls to the application. For example, you may review the number of current users on the application, the active accounts on the applications, the deactivated accounts versus maybe the list of the current staff in the organization. Review the rights of each user profile. Do some users have overprivileged rights compared to others? Also, in the move to establish accountability, review to verify the segregation of duties controls. Who authorizes and who approves? Who initiates a transaction and who approves this transaction? You will want to look at that. And then review the capacity management practices to ensure that you have proper planning for IT resources to ensure availability. The other thing is you may want to review whether there are manual reconciliations done before entering the financial data into the core banking system. Some institutions do this because if the controls surrounding the manual reconciliations are not clear, remember, garbage in is usually garbage out. So don't expect accuracy of the data processed when controls failed before even automation was involved. So ensure that you understand that process very clearly. And then you'll also want to ensure that the institution defined the know your customer details in the onboarding forms. This is basically to ensure that you understand the type of data that this institution collects. Which data does this institution processes and what data does it archive and for how long? Do they have a data retention policy? Do they have a data privacy policy that guides on how information is processed internally? Do they have a data privacy notice that is shared with customers to illustrate on how they use their data? All that, you may want to look at that. And then the other thing is you have to review the backup schedules on most institutions do the start of day and end of day processes. How are they done? How often are they done? How do they monitor and supervise transactions? How do they perform their end of day? Are there sign-offs that are required to be done? Review their restoration timelines? Are supervisors involved in all this process? You may want to look at all that. And then review the business continuity plan and the disaster recovery plan for the organization. And also it is advisable to also look at the service providers' business continuity plan regarding core banking system. And then among the modules and menus in the core banking system, you will want to review whether there is an embedded audit module. Do activities that happen on these core banking systems, are there logs that are captured so that you are in the know of, in case changes are made, are we able to review the logs? And these logs are reviewed by who? Are they centrally managed? Are they logged somewhere? Who is in charge of this? You may want to have a look at that. And then review the organization's change management program and validate whether all security controls have been implemented in the core banking system and on the application. The other thing is to review the security of other applications, the channels, the merchants, the APIs that integrate with the core banking system. This is basically to find out whether there are any gaps or vulnerabilities with those other applications that interface with the core banking system. So there are a list of controls that you can test on core banking system. There are quite a number, and there are many, but I've given you a high level on where to start, the approach on where to start on auditing a core banking system. Remember, on every audit, define the objective of the audit, determine the scope, and then from there, you'll be able to develop your audit program very well. So there, as an IS auditor, it is your responsibility to develop a very good, comprehensive IT audit program that will add value to the organization. It is not just a matter of auditing, but are you adding value to your organization? So thank you so much for watching. And if you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, this is the right time. Subscribe to Viral Knowledge, hosted by Veronica Rose, and see you in the next one. Thank you.